But my business has grown from podcasting, right? So the connections that I make, I'm very intentional about who I interview, and I do that because it is my visibility tool and it is a strategy for myself. So I'm either interviewing someone who is a potential partner or referral person, ideal client, or just somebody who can connect me to the next person. So that's the biggest benefit. And not only, like, as one podcast can turn into 50 pieces of marketing. So many facets that you can utilize a podcast for in your marketing strategy.
You just taught me something, which is why I love podcasting. But if you're thinking about that, reach out to her, reach out to me, because it's game changed my life. But I know the benefits and you're getting them as well.
Because really, that's what this whole entrepreneurial journey is about supporting one another.
Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness.
Shout out to my sponsors, A Mind for All Seasons. Your brain is your greatest competitive edge, so why not optimize it? Just text optimize to 72000, 72000 for instant access to 6 quick videos that help you think faster, remember more, and stay focused longer. A big thanks to Epic App, the 4-step storytelling system I use every day to connect and to convert. Try it free. Email me at stever1961@gmail.com. That's stevr1961@gmail.com, and I'll get you the free app. Doing Business with a Servant's Heart was just named top 6 in small business marketing. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona, and I've known this guest. She's so incredible. We met 2 years ago podcasting and learning about it and learning how to podcast. And, sometimes when you meet somebody, you just connect. And when you reconnect, it's just like you never left. That's what my guest is today. And she's a marketing guru. She has so much passion for marketing. So you're heard and seen, not just throwing crap out on the wall, excuse my language, and going, oh, did they see me? So we'll get into it in a minute. But let's do our gratitude for today. If you have a servant's heart, you got to be grateful, right? You're strong. You're amazing. You can handle any obstacle that comes your way. Well, marketing can help you with that, because you have an obstacle, you can come in and market your business so you're seen and heard, and that dip you have in your revenue could spike right up and you're pretty darn happy. So let's bring our guest on. Tori, so excited. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. I'm so excited to be here.
You're passionate about marketing, visibility especially. What does visibility mean to you?
Oh my gosh, it's everything. I mean, it's so many things. Visibility to me is not only the exterior business growth and visibility in marketing for your company, but it's also internal visibility and understanding truly who you are from the inside and what your purpose is and who you are to the world. Being able to shine that light on yourself so that you can make an impact and bring your purpose to light.
I love that you said purpose twice. How many people have you run into that really don't know their purpose in business?
Almost everyone. I
Wow.
think, yeah, there's so many people who are either not clear, it's the clarity piece of it. They're not clear on truly what they're there to do. I mean, they think that they're well, I guess it's just that they've been doing it so long that they haven't stopped to really think that they're happy or really love what they're doing. And I was just on a call today with a lady who was telling me a story about 13 years ago. She was in the corporate world, and her soon-to-be husband at the time asked her, "Do you love what you do?" And she, at that moment, had to pause and think, like, do I really love what I do? And that was the moment that she decided to become an entrepreneur. So, unless somebody kind of brings it to your light or you're, actively doing personal development, I think it's really hard for you to know your purpose unless you take the time to really discover it.
Clarity is so important because, I could love saving the whales, but I have no idea to start a business with that. Yeah, that's my passion. It's probably not my purpose. And
Yeah.
passions are okay. And I love that you said clarity because that's what you do and your marketing and your coaching and what you do to help business owners. So marketing, you got HR, you got sales, you got market, kind of the major pillars of a business, even
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. How important is marketing? I know you're in marketing, but I think it's something that people can DIY, think they can DIY. And
Yeah.
should they?
Oh gosh, no. No, 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 no. So, it's interesting. There's different phases of business, right? I think when you're first getting started, you have more time than money. And sometimes you bootstrap some of the things that you have to do just because of, sure grit and determination. You have to get things done. So at that point, sometimes you do have to wear that marketing hat. But once you get to a point in your business where you can't be all things or be in all places at all times, and you want to grow your business, marketing is something that's definitely going to catapult that success and growth for your company. It's sad that oftentimes that's the first thing that people will cut out of their budget is their marketing budget because they just don't think that there's value in it. And I'll tell you a story. It's interesting. I was in the corporate marketing space for 15 years. And then in 2019, started my digital marketing agency, Creative Marketing. And up until about the beginning of last year, which was 2025, I was a digital marketing agency, a marketing firm. I did marketing services, kept using the term marketing. And I had this internal sort of like twinge, right? Like something was off in the language that I was using. And when I was talking to people, it was, oh, I don't need a marketer, or, oh, I don't have a budget for marketing. And so it was really interesting, these conversations I was having. So I decided to switch my language. And I was very intentional last year to switch to visibility because to me, visibility is marketing and visibility is the outcome that marketing gives you. And so when I started shifting the language around visibility strategies, visibility solutions, people really started to understand and buy into what I was offering, what I was, trying to get them to understand. So, marketing is such a key aspect of it, but I think you have to shift the perspective and the mindset around what you're giving them or what they're looking for. And for me, that's been visibility. And that shift has been huge.
Clarity again. It's just being
Yeah.
clear. You can't sell something you don't know much about or don't have clarity on. I think I do this. I think I do. Yeah, that won't sell
Yeah.
anything. Well, while you're talking, giving us some great golden nuggets, I'm thinking, marketing is probably ahead of sales because if I'm not marketing my company, my sales team or me as a salesperson doesn't have people to sell to. Am I
Right.
thinking correctly in the pillars here?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think marketing, what you're talking about is brand, right? And that's a pillar of marketing. So in
Yeah.
marketing, you have to build your brand. I mean, that's usually the first thing you start with when you're a company. It could be as simple as colors, fonts, visual identity, logo. Like those are all brand pillars. But then it gets even further down into your language, the words that you use on your website, the content that you post on your social sites. That's your brand visibility and your personal brand of if you're a solopreneur or your brand of your business. So that's definitely the first thing before your sales team can even start pitching anything. You have to know what your brand is, who you stand for, and what you offer before you can go out there and sell something. So it's definitely a key piece before you can do pretty much anything.
Visibility is pretty important then in a business. If you're listening, visibility, marketing/marketing, whatever
Yeah.
verbiage you want to use. I like visibility because, it could be a little, it could be a lot. Marketing is, like you said, there's so many pillars, but your goal should be visibility to start because nobody sees you. Again, you're in a
Yeah.
people asset business. If you don't have people, you can't grow. What is, because you work with a lot of people. And when I first met you, I couldn't believe how many people you've worked with. What's a kind of ongoing theme or myth about marketing that you've seen from people coming in that they could fix pretty quickly?
I think to your point earlier is that they think that they can do it themselves. I think that's the biggest myth.
Okay.
And there's different, like we've said, pillars and nuances of marketing. If you don't have, I like to call it the flywheel effect, right? Like if you have to have all cylinders firing in your marketing strategy in order for it to be successful. Because if you don't have the foundation built, then whatever you put on top of it's going to crumble. So it's like you start with your brand, then you start with your online presence, then you start with your offer, and then you start with, lead generation and nurturing and thought leadership, all of those things. Because if you start going out and saying, I've got this, service, a strategy or consulting, whatever it might be, and people come back in to the back end of your system and you don't have that in place, then you can't service them. Then the customer service part falls apart. And, it's just this whole flywheel that you have to really implement. So if you don't have a good grasp of the big picture of marketing, which that's my favorite part, is the overall strategy and the big picture. If you don't have a grasp of all of these pieces and how they fit together, then that's where you're going to have things fall short. And you'll definitely see the growth of your business really stagnate.
That's your uniqueness too. Is you come in, a potential client comes in with Tori's system of
Yeah.
here's what we're doing, here's where we're going to start, the whole playbook I call it of
Yeah.
marketing, and they just fit pieces and you get things done as you go and the way you go. This is going to be a tough question because you are a marketer, but there are some people bootstrapping businesses and they have to for whatever reasons. We're not going to answer that question because we don't know. One, should people, I know they shouldn't, but if they are bootstrapping, what can they do on their own to get visibility before they hire you?
Well, I think start with their brand, make sure that they have a clear brand and their
Okay.
their message is clear. So they know the who, what, when, and where, right? Like you have to know your target audience, you have to know what you offer, all of those things. That's like foundation. And then on top of that, I think I would say start, especially in the business space, start with at least a presence on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn's going to be a huge platform for you to build your thought leadership, your authority. You can use it to generate traffic back to your website. You can write articles. Like, there's so many facets of building visibility for yourself through LinkedIn, that you don't necessarily need a marketer for. Because if you can build a network there, you can start to, talk about what you do and your unique position, then people are going to start asking questions, connecting with you, following, looking for more information about what you do. That would be the biggest place that I would start, because that can be a great place to really amplify who you are.
Brilliant. That's a golden nugget audience right there. Just jump in and we'll get Tori's information. Reach out to her after and you start doing LinkedIn. Follow up with her. Hey, I saw you on the
Yeah,
podcast or heard you and here's what's happened, or maybe she'll help you. We'll get her contact information in a minute.
yeah,
But that leads to this free quiz because you want to get to know people before you market or working with them to market.
yeah.
Talk about your free quiz.
Yeah, so everyone loves a good lead magnet and a quiz, right? And so I really wanted to build something that would not only give them insight into areas that they may need to work on, but
Mm-hmm.
it also gives me insight, before I have the opportunity to meet them, of how I might be able to serve them, right? And your podcast is all about servant's heart, right? And that's really truly where I come from, and the role that I play is leading with service. And so the free visibility quiz, it's on my website, creativemarketingconsulting.com, right there at the top. Anyone can take it, and it'll give you an idea of the three categories of visibility that you may have some challenges in or areas that you need to work in. And I'll give you that information right off the quiz.
Well, I'm going to tell you, audience, she doesn't know I'm doing this, so I'm going to do you a favor. The first 5 people that take her quiz and mention this podcast, I'm going to send you a gift. It's probably going to be a book. If you're not a reader, share the book, but I'm going to send you a book. So make sure you take the quiz, reach out to her via her website. Maybe she'll give her email. We'll get all that at the end, but she'll say, hey, Joe Smith just, reached out about the podcast, took my free quiz because I impact you twice.
Yeah.
Tori gets to impact you and I get to impact you, which
Yeah,
is what we
absolutely.
do, servant's heart. So make sure you do that. Like I said, we'll get her contact information at the end. Storytelling, visibility, all tied to that. If a company doesn't have a story, it can
Yeah.
be hard to sell it, right? Talk about
Yeah.
storytelling.
I think storytelling is really where people connect with the individual. Because if someone, if you, so if you lead with your story, who you are, what your challenges are, things you've overcome, what your passions, what your purposes are, people can resonate with that. It's like the know, like, and trust factor, right? If you say, I like dogs, or I have kids, or I play sports, like someone who's reading that who may have those same interests will connect with you because of that. And that's why, one of the biggest things, people say, scarcity mindset. There's people out there who are like, oh, I have to do things, I have to get all the clients, but it's like you have to have this abundance mindset because there's so much business to go around. And so when you tell your story and you lead with that true authentic self of who you are, what you represent, people really connect with that.
I love that because what you just said about the what was the mindset you said? I forgot already. The
Abundance,
abundance
yeah,
mindset. Because you're in marketing, and I probably know 150 people that do marketing, digital marketing.
yeah,
But your uniqueness is the free quiz, and every one of them has a unique thing that they do.
absolutely.
300 million, let's say 200 million adults in America. You don't need to meet 200 million people. If
No,
you met 1,000, your business or any of your businesses would be good. The goal is
yeah,
not everybody, but just having an abundance.
yeah,
Um, and I love storytelling. Love what you just said because, audience, here's a tip: if you're going out networking and meeting people in networking groups in person, tell a story. People could care less that Steve Ramona is a podcast host. Seriously, I'm being as transparent, as humble as can be. They really don't care. But
yeah,
I could tell them I had Tori on my podcast and she educated my guests doing this, this, and this. I just sold my podcast without highlighting me and putting the spotlight on me. That's what I love
absolutely.
about you. Put the
Yeah,
spotlight on the business
yep,
and the story. Well,
yeah,
that leads to podcasting. You love podcasting. Since we've met, we've gone
yes,
back and we almost started our own podcast with our friend Hirsch, and we were
yeah.
so. Why do you love podcasting?
Oh gosh. Well, so I'll tell you how I got into podcasting,
Yeah,
which leads into why I love it so much. So when I started my business in 2019, like we just talked about abundance, like, there's so many marketing agencies out there. I knew that when I started my business, I wanted to do something that would differentiate myself from my competitors. And at that time, there weren't many agencies or marketers who had a podcast. And I am a bit of an introvert, shockingly, I know. And so I was like, podcasting, like, okay, I love listening to podcasts. They're so valuable, so much information. Maybe I should do a podcast. And so it gave me the opportunity to not only stand out from my competitors, but it gave me the chance to grow myself personally, right? To push that boundary of uncomfortable, because nothing good happens in an uncomfortable situation, right? You have to get past that hurdle in order for great things to happen. So I started podcasting to build my authority, find my voice, share stories, meet new people, learn about myself and learn through the guests that I had. And since then, I've had different, podcasts. I've had, one variation, and then I started another one and really aligned it with the journey and the place that I am currently. But I mean, podcasting has opened up so many worlds for me. And geographically, it's boundless. Like I had a guest today who was in France, and I had a guest last week who was in Belgium. And I can, interview somebody who's in my backyard. Like it's so fun to connect with people through this space. But then it also, I feel grateful and honored to have these guests because I get to share their story and I get to educate people who are listening with these amazing stories and lessons and advice from all of the guests that I'm able to bring in. And, it's helped me with my own visibility. It gives me the opportunity to serve, it gives me the opportunity to connect. And I love it. It's a passion of mine, and it's my number one visibility tool in my business.
I'm going to take that little clip and share it with people as I work with podcast hosts because you nailed it. Best, probably 500 people I've taught. It's the best explanation of podcasting. But here's the funny thing about in anything podcasting, let's throw it in this loop is, okay, that's great, Tori. And I have people tell me, but what benefits did you get from that?
Oh my gosh. Well, not outside of friendships that I've built. I
Well,
mean, you and
that's a
I,
benefit. Yeah.
that's a huge benefit. You and I wouldn't have met if it hadn't been for podcasting. But my business has grown from podcasting, right? So the connections that I make, I'm very intentional about who I interview, and I do that because it is my visibility tool and it is a strategy for myself. So I'm either interviewing someone who is a potential partner or referral person, ideal client, or just somebody who can connect me to the next person. So that's the biggest benefit, on top of all of the amazing other things. And not only, like, as one podcast can turn into 50 pieces of marketing, audio, visual, written, so many facets, that you can utilize a podcast for in your marketing strategy.
Visibility tool. You just taught me something, which is why I love podcasting. You said earlier about learning, and it doesn't matter
Yeah,
what level of successful money, we should always be learning. That is very cool because we start with visibility.
yeah,
Audience, she just gave you a tool. I think everybody should have a podcast, but I'm going to back off on that. But if you're thinking about that, reach out to her, reach out to me, because it's game changed my life. And it's about you today, but I know the benefits and you're getting them as well. And it's built your business. So
yeah,
visibility tool. So that ties into building relationships in the visibility. I'm not going to use marketing, the visibility.
yeah.
What's your tips for that? Because it's valuable as hell.
How to use a podcast to build visibility?
No, building relationships. How do you
Oh,
use, okay, you got the podcast,
yeah.
because that's the next step, is building that relationship with the guest like
Yeah.
me and
Oh,
you
yeah.
have.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So it's interesting. When I first started podcasting, I would jump right into the interview, right? I would say, "Hey, who wants to be a guest?" Or, reach out to somebody, and I would just automatically jump into the call, and it would be the interview day. And I started learning that I was missing opportunities to build that connection and that relationship. And so now I start with a 20-minute intro call. And that's really the starting point of the connection, right? Like, we either referred, we talk through email, or we, communicate through LinkedIn to get this scheduled. But then when we get on the call for this, like, 20-minute introduction, it gives me the opportunity to really get an insight into who this person is, the story that they have to share, the insight, the education that they can provide. And then that makes it so much more intriguing when we get to the day of the interview. And so that is just the beginning of our journey in the relationship, because from there you nurture beyond that. And I build relationships with intention. So, once I've interviewed someone, I remember them from, that point on. And they're going to be somebody that I, often reach out to, check in on, follow up with, find opportunities that I can support them, because really that's what this whole entrepreneurial journey is about supporting one another. So the relationship is built on those cornerstones of those first two interactions. But it goes beyond that, because we can then stay in touch, find opportunities for collaboration. We can refer business to each other. We can support each other's businesses. And it's just so much, gives me joy, to be able to bring that value for people.
That's our journey. You reached out to me a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, and said, "Hey, we got talking." You go, "Wait a minute, I'm in your podcast. Steve invited me."
Yeah.
And of course, yes. And see, that's the power. We would have missed this opportunity, me and you to have me to
Yeah.
have a great guest, and you to have get visibility on my show. We're coming to the end here, which is unfortunate, but fortunate, because the golden nuggets on my pad here. Hopefully, your audience, you're writing down some notes. They're powerful. Guesting is one of the things when I talk to hosts. It's like not guessing, finding guests.
Yeah.
I think it's quite easy. Tell me how you find guests, because it's not that hard, is it?
No, I agree. I agree. It's pretty easy. I think if somebody has, I mean, people who have a book are like golden, right? Because they just want any opportunity that they can find to talk about their book or what their book is, basically solving. But I think really anyone who, my approach, right? So either through referral, like we in the podcasting space, we're very open about pod swapping and, referring guests to each other. But also, like, if I find somebody on LinkedIn, who I'm either connected with or I'm not, like a second or third degree connection, if I find or see that they have value that they can bring to my show. And I reach out to them and say, not like a cold, like, hey, I want to sell you something, but like, I honestly believe that what you're doing is amazing and that your message needs to be heard. I have this platform that I want to invite you to. Would you be a guest? Most people, like 98% of the time, are like, I would love that. That would be amazing. So when you have that platform and that space for people to come on to invite them to, it's pretty easy to get people as guests.
You're in my head because I was going to ask you how many people say yes. And it's right, it's 98%. I've had 900 shows and one person say no because they weren't ready.
Yeah.
Maybe two because their book wasn't ready. Most
Yeah.
people don't say no. I don't care if they're multi-billionaire or somebody starting out. They all have a message they want to share. They want visibility, which you talk about. Got my new word, audience, visibility. I hope you got that all over your paper written down. And understand that it's so important in anything that you do related to be online. Let's end with a fun question. Let's do a little improv. So you're near me, so I'm not far away from you. So your favorite restaurant where you live, you're going to tell me what it is. I'm going to reserve a table. So me and you can sit down and your partner will sit with us because I always like family there. I want you to invite 3 people, whether dead or alive, that have been influential in your life, made a huge difference. But for me, which is most important, I want you to order the food for the table. I would like to know what you're going to order.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I got to pick a restaurant and then I got to tell you 3 things I'm going to order.
First restaurant pops in your head that you've been to.
Gosh. I can't remember the name of it, but there's an amazing Thai restaurant in the Roseville area. And I would order, let's see. They have these pad Thai noodles, which is really good. Wontons. I love me some wontons. And probably just like a Asian salad, probably.
Yeah. I'm glad I ate lunch already because I'm getting hungry again.
Which is so funny because it's so funny because I would never really think Thai food, but that's the first thing that popped in my head. And so
you obviously like it. So
it was good.
So who you bringing with us?
Oh, I would have to say my 2 biz besties who introduced me to the restaurant, Kara Steinman and Melissa Zimmerman. And who would be another one? I would say Alicia Diggs Chavis.
Beautiful. Look at that. Right off the top of her head. She knows her peoples. That's for her people. That's for sure.
Those are my people.
Tori, I knew this would be a great show. You overshot the moon with it. Thank you for all this great nuggets and help. How can people reach out to you and get, the free quiz and, ask you questions? Because I know you'll meet with people and help them.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you, Steve. It's been an honor to be here. So grateful to have you as a friend and appreciate you bringing me here on the show. People can reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's my favorite platform. You can find me with my name, Tori Barker. And my website is creativemarketingconsulting.com. And like I said earlier, at the top of the website is a button for the free visibility quiz. So you can click on that and you can take the quiz and it'll give you some insight into areas that you might need to work on for your visibility. And yeah, I'd love to connect with anyone on LinkedIn. Send me a message. Let me know you heard me on Steve's podcast and I'll see if I can be a servant to your business and to your journey and do what I can to help you.
And don't forget, take the quiz and I'll send you a gift as well. You first 5 people. Thank you again. And podcast name. The 2 podcasts you have.
Yeah. So my podcast for the creative marketing business is Visibility Strategies for Women Entrepreneurs. And my newest business venture is called Beyond Her Game. You can find that at beyondhergame.com if you're in the female athletic space looking to empower and educate women in athletics. And you can find that podcast as well as Beyond Her Game podcast.
And visibility in sports, if you're an athlete, is huge. So there's where she can definitely help. And thanks again, Tori. And audience, subscribe to Tori's YouTube, my YouTube, our podcast. And here's what you do. If you listen to hers or my podcast and something resonates with somebody you talk to, share the link with them. Go, man, I just listened to Tori on this goofy guy's podcast. She's talking all marketing. You need to listen. Yeah. And they listen, they reach out, and Tori can impact them. But didn't you just give them a gift? Because that's what I think podcasts are, truly a gift. So go ahead and do that. And with that being said, me and Tori want to thank everybody for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see everybody on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.